All right, third graders. This is day 7 of writing your personal narrative. Your teaching point says good writers know how to write a satisfying ending to their personal narrative. Today I'm going to tell you an important writing secret. Writing the end at the bottom of your paper doesn't mean that your story is really finished. Also, you should never write the end at the end of any piece of writing. To complete your narrative, you need to write a satisfying ending that leaves your reader with a sense of closure. The story should be complete. That way it has no unanswered questions. There are 4 ways to write the end of a narrative. The first one is called reflective or circular. The second one is called hopes or wishes. The third one is called moral or lesson learned. And the last one is called decision. On the next slide, I'm going to give you a definition of each. Reflective and circular means that you write your ending the same way you write your beginning. That way they have similarities. If you choose to do hope or wish, that means after you reflect on your small moment or topic, what wish or hope do you have for next time? If you choose to do number 3, that would be the moral or lesson learned. So what lesson did you walk away with, learning from your small moment or topic that you chose to write about? And lastly, decision. What have you decided after your event or small moment? We're going to go ahead and listen to Wilford Gordon, MacDonald Partridge. Please think about how the author ended the story in a similar way to the beginning. So really listen to the beginning and the ending. This is an example of reflective or circular ending. I'm going to click on the link so you can listen to the story.
Bedtime Story Collection presents Wilfred Gordon MacDonald Partridge by Mem Fox. There was once a small boy called Wilfred Gordon MacDonald Partridge, and what's more, he wasn't very old either. His house was next door to an old people's home, and he knew all the people who lived there. He liked Mrs. Jordan, who played the organ. He listened to Mr. Hosking, who told him scary stories. He played with Mr. Tippet, who was crazy about cricket. He ran errands for Miss Mitchell, who walked with a wooden stick. He admired Mr. Drysdale, who had a voice like a giant. But his favourite person of all was Miss Nancy Allison Delacourt Cooper, because she had 4 names, just as he did. He called her Miss Nancy, and told her all his secrets. One day, Wilfred Gordon heard his mother and father talking about Miss Nancy. "Poor old thing," said his mother. "Why is she a poor old thing?" asked Wilfred Gordon. "Because she's lost her memory," said his father. "It isn't surprising," said his mother. "After all, she is 96. "What's a memory?" asked Wilfred Gordon. He was always asking questions. "It's something you remember," said his father. But Wilfred Gordon wanted to know more, so he called on Mrs. Jordan, who played the organ. "What's a memory?" he asked. "Something warm, my child, something warm." He called on Mr. Hosking, who told him scary stories. "What's a memory?" he asked. "Something from long ago, me lad, something from long ago." He called on Mr. Tippet, who was crazy about cricket. "What's a memory?" he asked. "Something that makes you cry, my boy, something that makes you cry." He called on Miss Mitchell, who walked with a wooden stick. "What's a memory?" he asked. "Something that makes you laugh, my darling, something that makes you laugh." He called on Mr. Drysdale, who had a voice like a giant. "What's a memory?" he asked. "Something as precious as gold, young man. Something as precious as gold." So Wilfred Gordon went home again to look for memories for Miss Nancy, because she had lost her own. He looked for the shoebox of shells he had found long ago last summer, and put them gently in a basket. He found the puppet on strings, which made everyone laugh, and he placed that in the basket too. He remembered with sadness the medal his grandfather had given him, and he laid it carefully next to the shells. Then he found his football, which was as precious as gold, and last of all, on his way to Miss Nancy's, he went into the hen house and took a fresh, warm egg from under a hen. Then Wilfred Gordon called on Miss Nancy and gave her each thing one by one. "What a dear, strange child to bring me all these wonderful things," thought Miss Nancy. Then she started to remember. She held the warm egg and told Wilfred Gordon about the tiny speckled blue eggs she had once found in a bird's nest in her aunt's garden. She put a shell to her ear and remembered going to the beach by tram long ago, and how hot she had felt in her button-up boots. She touched the medal and talked sadly of the big brother she had loved, who had gone to the war and never returned. She smiled at the puppet on strings and remembered the one she had shown to her sister, and how she had laughed with a mouthful of porridge. She bounced the football to Wilfred Gordon and remembered the day she had met him and all the secrets they had told. And the two of them smiled and smiled, because Miss Nancy's memory had been found again by a small boy who wasn't very old either. The end.
All right. So now we're going to look at Class Kick. Okay. So here is the first page that you're going to see. You're going to see the paper, okay, on your actual page, which will be page 2. So ways to end a narrative. So on the far left-hand side, it says types of endings. You can see reflective or circular, hopes or wishes, moral or lesson learned, and the decision is at the bottom. In the middle column, it says mentor text. So because I couldn't fit everything in those boxes, I wrote it on the far left-hand side. So for reflective or circular, you'll have to look at the blue box. For hopes and wishes, you'll have to look at the green box. For moral or lesson learned, you'll have to look at the orange box. And for decision, you'll have to look at the purple box. Then on the right-hand side, in yellow, those are my examples. Okay, now again, I had to make the font smaller so everything would fit in there because it was too much for that small box. So I'm just going to read through the blue box for you so you can get the hang of it. Okay, so the mentor text that we just listened to. The beginning. There was once a small boy called Willard Gordon MacDonald Partridge, and what's more, he wasn't very old either. The ending. And the two of them smiled and smiled because Mrs. Nancy's memory had been found again by a small boy who wasn't very old either. Therefore, both the beginning and the ending say small boy and wasn't very old either, which makes it reflective or circular. My example. It's been over 12 years now that I have had Kinnick. His sleepy self with a sweater on is something I will never forget to this day. So you're going to go through here and read all the different options I have. Okay, so go ahead and look at the green box. Then look at my example. Look at the orange box, and then actually look and listen and watch the read aloud that I have in there for you, and then look at my example. And then lastly, you're going to look at the purple box, read through it, and then look at my example. Then you'll click over to page 2, and you will do your example. If you need to flip back and forth, that's fine. That's why both pages are in here for you. Okay, let's go back to our slides. So your task, which is what I just said, you're going to go to Classkick and find your assignment. Remember, the first page is where all of the examples are there for you, even mine. Okay, I just showed this to you just a moment ago. Number 3, you are to write an ending with all 4 ways on your small moment or topic. This should be the same topic you wrote your middle paragraph on from Friday. Okay, so I did all 4 with an example. You're going to do all 4. Number 4, use the text box feature to add a text box and then type your sentence or 2 in there. And then you can make it the font bigger or smaller depending upon how much you type. If you can always write more than 1 or 2 sentences as well. Remember, this should be closing your personal narrative, so you're not leaving your audience hanging or with any more questions, okay? Good luck and happy writing. Remember, all of this was recorded, so you can rewatch it as many times as you need, and you can pause it as well.